Stories from Three Simple Steps is an interview series based on the book Three Simple Steps by New York Times best-selling author Trevor Blake. This video series is produced and hosted by Allison Phillips, a fellow Three Simple Steps reader and the creator of StoriesFrom3SimpleSteps.com. In this interview series, readers volunteered to share their experiences of how the powerful daily practices in the book Three Simple Steps have positively affected and in some cases radically changed their careers, their businesses, and their lives. Wherever in the world you are, we hope that this story inspires you to create an even better life experience and a greater positive impact in this world.
Hey everybody, it's Allison Phillips here with another Three Simple Steps story and interview, and I have with me Catherine Bergman from Florida. Did I pronounce that correctly? Catherine Bergman from Florida. And she'll be sharing with us how she heard about Three Simple Steps, what she's done with it, how has it impacted her life, and the typical discussion we're having here in this video series. So welcome, Catherine.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's start out by just having you share, when did you first hear about Three Simple Steps and what intrigued you to or prompted you to get the book?
I was looking at the library online because I like to use my Kindle a lot. I read about a book a week, so I was looking for something different, and I'm a lifelong learner, so I'm always looking for something to help improve myself in some kind of way. And I saw the Three Simple Steps in just the title of it, I guess, and it had success in it, and that just kind of piqued my attention. So I looked it up, or I looked at the summary of the book, and it sounded like it would be interesting, so that's why I chose it.
Okay, and how long ago was that?
This was, I think it was in August of 2013, just last year.
Okay. And so have you read other books that are similar or that seem similar to Three Simple Steps? And if so, how was Three Simple Steps different for you?
Yes, I actually back in like 2005, I wrote something for myself, and it's also set up like in three sections, with the first one being like releasing self-doubt, so same kind of thing as the Three Simple Steps. And then after you release your doubt, you're like brought back to the hope that love that is already within you. So then the third section would be how to like maintain that balance between body, mind, and spirit. So just through my own findings, and then more recently, I'd say within the last 5 years, is when I found Think and Grow Rich, and then Nightingale's, that success book. So I wrote things like that, and then from Three Simple Steps, that's when I still keep going further, and I read what was the Power Consistency was the last one. But what I noticed about the Three Simple Steps is that first off, they're simple, and he had some same experiences that I did, so I could relate to it, which was also awesome, And, I forgot what the question was.
What was similar? Yeah. What did you find similar in his story?
Well, what was similar, obviously, is because he had read, those bibliographies and those, those people of leadership and those that have already made it and reached, and he took the best of the best, and that's kind of what, Napoleon Hill was trying to do, But also, Earl Nightingale, that's what he calls to attention, the same kind of thing. So I would say that's what's similar between them.
Okay. And what, for you, in reading the book, was most enlightening?
It was definitely, I didn't need step one, so I was more focused on 2 and 3. So I know how important meditation is, and I'm a thinker. So anytime I've ever seemed to try it, it seems like I failed, which is a great way to look at it. But I've always had quiet time in the morning, so I've always done some kind of meditation, and the way that Trevor presented it in the book was like there was no way I could do it wrong. And the suggestion of how to go about doing it, I actually followed his steps, with the rubbing the hands and all this stuff, and going through kind of this ritual, and it clicked. I was ready for it, obviously. I'm putting that kind of out there anyway.
Yeah.
And the way he presented it was just, I don't know, it just resonated within me and it hit home. It was easy to do, and I've been doing it every day. So,
So you had tried, so you had used meditation or tried to use meditation in some way, shape, or form in the past, and it hadn't been as simple as doing it the way Trevor described in his book.
correct, yes. Yep.
Okay. What
So
made it easy for you?
I think I don't remember exactly if he actually said it, but I think it was just the fact that I couldn't do it wrong. I mean, it's just try it. Eventually, you'll get it, and it was going to be okay. You know,
Okay.
it's not gonna. You're not gonna be there right away. So.
So that was a bit of a relief, and you just surrendered to it. Made it simple.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what was it like for you overall? And we'll get into each of the steps in a second, but what was it like for you overall implementing the 3 simple steps?
Man, it was like magic, I guess. Which is that's neat because he kind of refers to that in the book too. But well, it was simple. So I actually went through the ritual, everything like that. And it's interesting because I'd done something similar because Napoleon Hill had also suggested something of that effect. Writing your intentions down and things like that is important to me, and that's something I've been doing over the years either way. So, but like I said, I did exactly the way Trevor suggested it, and it's just the results, you know, are quick, and it's so quick that it's like it's hard not to talk about that with other people. So I've been like, I'm always talking about 3 simple steps. I check out this book, and especially there's people that it just gets yelling at me in my head. They're just at a position in their life or just something. I don't know. Like I said, what you put out in the universe, it kind of you end up aligning with what you need, or you know, you place in other people's lives with you know. So I think it's just so easy to put these together, and the results are just so quick. It's just amazing. I mean, that's the coolest thing about it.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about step 1, which you said you didn't need a whole lot of. Can you share with our viewers why that wasn't something that you had to pay a lot of attention to? What contributed to that in your own life?
Like I said, I'm a lifelong learner, so knowing myself, how I interact with people, how I react to situations, things like that is very in tune with myself, and also, you know, finding the good and the positive in everything, because I mean, bad things or situations may happen, but how you react to them and how you perceive them doesn't mean that then you're necessarily going to get a bad result. So it's just something that I've been working on for a long time. It feels, you know, to always be in the good, or you know, I don't want to necessarily use the term spiritual, but being centered and a part of nature. We're all connected in some fashion, you know, no matter what belief you have. I mean, we all came from some type of central source. So my actions are going to affect you, whether you're in Georgia or whether you're here in Florida. So, and that's just something that I believe in and have for quite some time. So the first step, I enjoyed reading it. It was good that he put in that information that he did. I think that's important to have that reveal the self like that, like he did, because I think it helps connect with other people too. But that's why I didn't necessarily need the first step as much. So.
I see. And what, for you, in terms of the mastering your mentality, how were you already responding to negative situations around you, people that we may perceive to be negative around us? Have you had those situations, and what had you already been doing in terms of mastering your mentality with regard to situations over which you had no control, or people over which you had no control yet? They're kind of protruding that kind of negative energy around you.
That's always the first thing, is usually the first thought is, it's not about me. You know, and that kind of puts it back into my court. Okay, so what is about me? What can I control? And sometimes, depending on what it is going on, I can, I'll say I can maintain my emotional well-being regardless of the people around me. And it kind of brings me back into focus, if my first reaction is, also negative. And, but since, reading the 3 Simple Steps, I don't necessarily tune people out, but I will do that, island oasis, and kind of be walking there as I'm listening to someone, and it kind of helps, dissipate some of their energy. So, but also I didn't mention this before, but when Trevor had talked about using that mentality cloak or have some kind of a filter, that is part of what I do every morning after quiet time. I actually visualize like a glass kind of cone shape that comes down. There's still the tether that's attached to the the universe or that connected piece, and that's kind of like my happy filter, and it's always here. I can share my happiness with others, right? And it also kind of has that buffer for the negative folks around me. So I do that all the time, and if I need to as well, if, like I said, going to the island is a drastic approach. Otherwise, I'm focused on that as well, and it's true, like he says, things kind of just bounce off you. It doesn't affect you the same because you're already empowered, yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And let's talk a little bit about quiet time, because that was where you seem to have experienced a significant shift given what you had experienced in the past. Overall, what was quiet time like for you? What did you experience as the greatest benefit of the second step, having quiet time?
I think it's definitely that it's through the whole day. So although the quiet time is just a short amount of time in the morning, the effect that it has on myself lasts through the whole day. There's that calming effect. It's also, like I said, because I do that visualization, I also do visualize myself like turning on a switch, and it's intuitive. I'm turning on my intuition. Turn it on.
Okay. Oh, that's a good visualization.
It is. It's awesome. I had to tweak it a bit. So I turn it on, and underneath it is like a little title tag that says, I'm listening to my intuition and taking action, because I found that every once in a while I'll hear my intuition, but I don't necessarily take action on what is suggested.
Oh, that's important. That's a good distinction. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So I do things like that, but yeah, I'd say quiet time is the cool thing about it is that it tends to it boosts me and fills me up for the whole day. So.
And how long do you do it? I know Trevor recommends 20 minutes, and I know some people do it a little bit less, some people do it a lot more. What has it been for you?
I never have done it less than 15 minutes, and then it can be up to 30 minutes. It just depends.
Okay, yeah. I've done it if I have the time, which I regularly do because I set aside several hours in the morning. Sometimes I go for an hour and I don't even realize it because it's so calming, and you open your eyes and like, oh, it's been an hour.
I wish. I
wake up really early, though. I wake up very, very early to do my quiet time before anybody else in the house wakes up. So the other question that I had for you, when you were talking about the calming effect that it has during the day, what is that like? Why do you refer to it as a calming effect? Like, what is the experience you're having during the day as a result of doing your quiet time in the morning?
It's how do I explain that calming effect? It's hard to explain if you've never felt what being centered is. It's hard to explain the calming effects. Like the reason I reached out to you is because I had emailed Trevor thanking him, and I'd also mentioned that I have seen the energy of the universe, which is the pulse, the vibrations that come off the leaves, the air, the grass. At the time, I was outside, so I saw the vibration of what the winds, things like that. So it's this feeling, I guess, the thing is just right. There's no it's hard to explain. But
Mm.
so it,
So
I guess
centered
it
and
would be that,
calming is what you described that.
yeah. So there's no, you're not feeling anxious. You're not. I guess you'd have to talk about what you're not, which is you're not
Ah,
feeling
right.
anxious, nervous, or angry, or things like that.
Mm.
It's more that you're just. It's a sense of it's a type of being. It's hard to
And what
explain.
So that's a good point that you're sharing there. Maybe it would be helpful for viewers to hear what were your days like before you did quiet time, such that you now notice this centeredness and calmness now that you're doing it.
So what it is, I told you I've had different kind of like affirmations or techniques that I've always said to myself, but
Uh-huh.
I've always had to go to them because I would had already went to anger or had already gotten upset
Mm.
or have already gotten, like that, not, sad is an okay feeling, but
Yeah.
not an overwhelm. So instead, it's like I don't, it's I'm already there because I guess
Oh.
because part of it is that realization,
Mm-hmm.
I'm already there. So it's not like I'm being reactive,
Mm.
at a sense I always be reactive, and I'm
Ah,
not like
got
that
it.
anymore. So
Got it.
it's
Got it.
pretty cool, really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So
I'd
it's
be
kind of like
curious
you
what
shifted
else.
from, and this is really good for our viewers too, because it sounds like you shifted from reaching for an answer in the moment that you're feeling angry, frustrated, anxiety, and all that stuff, to simply being in that place in a pretty steady way as a result of doing quiet time. Does
Yeah,
that sound accurate?
I would say that's very very accurate.
Mm.
If I could meditate all day, that would be great. I wouldn't have any interaction with people though. But it's nice to interact with people and not have to be a part of their emotions. It's nice to have my own, and I think that's also something that's different. That's part of
Mm.
being centered.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So let's talk about, you talked about nature. So share with our viewers, if you will, because I know Trevor talks about connecting with nature in his book, and his book was what actually connected me to nature and my love for going out in nature, taking walks out in
Cool.
nature and all that. So if you could share with our viewers, if you will, what was that? Did you already have your connection to nature before reading the book? Has it enhanced it in any way? And what is your connection with nature like for you? What's your experience with that? And what do you do to connect with nature as well?
Yeah, gotcha. I've known for a while, probably like Trevor, since I was really young, that being outside felt way different than being inside. Just like being alone is different than being with other people. At the time, I didn't know that, people emitted energy or their emotions were so strong that they affected me.
Can you restart that? So your connection with nature feels, looks like what? Well, how is it? How's your experience with that?
So it's definitely it's a physical reaction that I have.
Mm.
I know again it's more about feeling, I guess, love of self, and that's because it's the energy that's coming from
Yeah,
nature itself,
yeah.
because it's pure. You know what I'm saying? So and like I said, I've known from an early age that I need that for myself. It helps to like clear any kind of energy that I've built up that was negative. So
Mm.
I've always been one that's gone outside to play when I was young, and as I get older, I've always been one I walk outdoors. Like I've never joined a gym. I've always gone for a bike ride, gone for a walk, gone for a jog, things like that. And oh my gosh, I love going hiking. It's like one of my favorite things to do.
Hiking?
Yes, I love to hike.
Okay. How
Yeah,
often do you
yeah.
get to go?
Usually go every weekend. It's not as much fun in Florida as the going up to Georgia. I go up to Georgia quite often. Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina. I love going up there.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. So is your time out in nature weekly, daily? What is it for you?
It's daily. I go for a walk every day. That's one of the like treats or rewards that I give myself after a long conference call or things like that. I like to have one in the morning, regardless, and then I'll do it throughout the day. And then usually it's nice to go sit outside, out on the back porch or something like that. I'll do that in the evening as well. Or I get to, thankfully, I work from home, so I'll work out on the back porch also. Just nice because then you're outside.
Yeah. So you have that connection every day, sometimes several
Oh,
times a day.
yes, it's very, very important. It's again, we're all connected, and as soon as you step outside, you're already feeling it. So it's pretty cool. And
Hmm.
it's even better when you're away from all the noise pollution and the electricity and things like that. So I
Hmm.
definitely like going to the parks
Yeah.
as well.
Definitely agree with that. I try to get out for my walks every single morning, and at first it wasn't. I didn't feel the impact of it initially. It was just I'm going for a walk, and it feels good to just go outside and be, out in nature, going for a walk. Now I can, like you do. I
Yeah.
definitely feel it. When I started to feel it physically, my husband was like, "What are you talking about?" I was
Yeah.
like, "I don't know. I feel this energy in my legs," and I'm trying to describe it to him. He's like, "Okay, I'll try. I'll see if I feel that too." But I think it's just the regularity of going out in nature, and I do feel
Yeah.
the energy of my own body connecting with the energy, like you said, the pure energy of nature. And
Yeah.
so now I definitely feel it physically. My feet can hit the grass. Like, I park at a park and I walk around, and the
Uh-huh.
minute my feet hit the grass, it's like vroom, plugged in energy. And just
Yeah.
that you could feel just the purity of it all around you, through you. That's what I feel now. And
Yeah.
so being out in nature is a must have for me. It's not so like in the past, and this is very new because I never did that before I read Trevor's book. So in the past, I never even considered it. For I would go for weeks being in my office and in the house and not getting out much at all, but to run errands. But now it's a daily thing. Most days I'm able to go out, and for the most part, it's anywhere between 30 to 60 minutes when I'm out in nature. But yes, I certainly see what you have described is that it's an experiential thing now. It's a very
Yeah.
energetic thing for me now. So it's very powerful.
Yes.
Very
Awesome.
powerful. Hmm. Okay, so uh, what's been your experience with writing your intentions daily?
That that was a pretty cool idea. Like I had written them before, and it was more of a goal setting, So his
Mm,
take on that was pretty cool. So I don't have a whiteboard because I don't have a space for one. So I just use a piece of paper, and I think it's cool. And one thing that I do also whenever I write, I feel or exaggerate my feelings as I'm writing. So I make sure that I have all the emotions that I would, you know, have with, the intention. So that way you can kind of reinforce it, because I think adding all your senses only enhances, the energy around you, and
mm-hmm.
can again going back out. So, but it's
Okay.
very, that's all part of
And
the morning routine.
has it changed much at all from the time you started writing your intentions to the way you do it now?
No,
Okay.
no,
And
because
is
I
yours, I always like to ask people because everybody does it in a very different way. Is yours pretty short or long? How do you typically do yours?
Mine's it's more on the long side, I would think. Yeah, because I'm also at sometimes I'll be throwing in the actions, like blah blah blah, and I'm so happy about this.
Right, the emotions in
And
there,
things like
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm always curious to know as well, are your intentions, and of course you're not going to share them, but are your
Right.
intentions more, because some people actually learned through doing these interviews, and I hadn't thought about it before I started doing these interviews, but some people had very mindset focused intentions, like here's where I want to be mentally and spiritually, while other people had sort of material things that they want to experience in their lives. Some people had a blend of both. So what's
hmm
yours? Is it a blend of both, or is it more physical experiences, more mental, spiritual experiences that you want to have more of? What's it been like for you?
Um, it's more about, I guess, golly man. It's definitely it's not spiritual. I mean, I feel that all the time. It's more of a, achievements and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. And how long does it take you to write your intentions each day?
Oh, not long, not long.
Not
I
long.
have very focused intentions. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I act on them every day.
Cool.
So,
And is there anything that you do during the day to remember your intentions, to remind yourself of your intentions? I know everybody has their little tips that they do to, because we sit and we write it, either, write at quiet time or some other time during the day. We're writing out our intentions. Um, and then Trevor also suggests in the book that you continue to think about your intentions all day long. And I know for me, that was a good reminder because I can like write my intentions early in the morning while I'm having that beautiful quiet time experience and all of that. And then I switch gears and I go into work mode and I'm like, doing my work.
right,
And I had to come up with my own strategies on how to remind myself. There are certain intentions that I have that I always thought about because they were so strong within me. And then there were other ones that I may have thought less about, but it's stuff that I want to experience anyway. So I had to come up with different ways to remind myself throughout the day of what I want, what I really do want to experience, what my intention is, and really giving it some more focus, like sprinkled focus throughout the day. How has
right.
that experience been like for you?
That's it was a matter of incorporating them into what I already do. I'm a mindful thinker, so I don't watch TV and things like that. So a lot of my in between tasks or things like that, I fill it with some kind of affirmation or something like that. So now what I do is also I'll interweave my intentions into that.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, when I'm walking, part of what I do as well is I focus on my intentions. So yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that's good too. I did it a few times, not a lot, but then I remember Trevor in the book talking about when he went to walk his dogs, he would speak his intentions out loud, and he said the only
that's,
people who think I'm crazy are my dogs. But
yeah,
he would
yeah,
literally verbally speak his intentions out loud
yep,
as he walked, and it is a really powerful experience because when I did it, the few times that I did it, and I should probably do it again because it was really powerful, but the few times that I did it, um, I brought in my gratitude. Like I had already experienced it and I was so grateful and I was so happy and so much feeling so much joy as I got this experience, whatever that intention was. And it was powerful to the point where a few times it brought me to tears because I literally brought all of my emotions, intentions, and focus on
yep,
having experienced that outcome, and I literally put myself in the experience of the outcome. So that's a good
right.
reminder for some of our viewers that particular aspect of um, reliving your intentions is pretty powerful as well. Have you ever done that where you walked and talked about it out loud, or no?
Yeah, every day.
Oh, every day, really?
Yeah, yeah. I'm that person. Yeah. But like
Hmm.
I said, it we're all connected, so it's out there, and when you're talking out loud, it just reinforces it even more. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And what's some of the magic that you experienced as a result of doing three simple steps? Like, what are some examples of what you have already experienced on your journey?
So it's every day consistently is the I guess it people call it different things, but synchronicity is definitely something that I have all the time. And that was something that I didn't have for a little while, so it was kind of neat to get it back. And then, do I need to explain what that is, or
Yeah, go
is
ahead with an example. If you have an example, that'd be great
okay?
for our viewers.
Okay, cool. So for me, I know that I'm like on the right path, or I'm still following, what my intentions are. I'm flowing well with the universe. It seems like every time I look at the clock, it's either 1:01 or it's 10:10, 11:11. I mean, that's kind of a synchronicity kind of thing that I
Uh,
think look at the clock at a certain time where the numbers are equal or the same. So
mhm.
that's one thing. Sometimes it's that, for example, yesterday I went grocery shopping. I had to go to Target and Publix, but the cashier at Target was Marianne, and my cashier at Publix was also Marianne. So So things like that, that to me is synchronicity. And it's funny because yesterday was the day that I was actually spending time with a person I'm writing with a novel. And that was one of the things that was kind of cool because I had been wanting someone to collaborate with, and magically this person appeared. And I think it's because of the steps and things that I've been working on through Trevor's book. So that was also very magical for me because otherwise, anytime I'd started to write, it was just too overwhelming, and I really wanted someone to partner with to kind of help me, kind of bring things into perspective, and we could focus on it together. So that was like the biggest cool thing that has happened so far.
Is a partner in your writing endeavors?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, cool. So you're a writer.
Yes, I love to write.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool, cool. Any other magical moments that you wanted to share that as a result of Three Simple Steps?
I'm telling you, just to be on this kind of high plane level of happiness all the time, I think that's the biggest one so far. And like I said, I think it has to do with is 2 and step 3. I mean, ideas they flow to me all the time as well. Like I said, I'm a thinker to begin with, so I'm always coming up with, oh, I could do this, or I could do that, or what they should be doing, blah, 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 things like that. So it's just like even tenfold now. So that's pretty cool. I just write them all down. Maybe I'll sell a book of all my ideas. I don't know.
And have you had those visceral moments of insight as well as a result of doing Three Simple Steps? I know some people have not yet, but what's been your experience?
I'm used to that anyway, so I can't say that that's changed very much. So.
Oh, so you've had that experience all along. You were connected
Yes.
to that kind of experience all along.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Definitely.
Okay. Any challenges that you experienced with Three Simple Steps that you were able to overcome?
No, it was too simple. I haven't had challenges.
Yeah.
So.
I think the greatest challenge people have is with step 1, and you had already conquered that before you got the book. I think that's the biggest one for it seems like from feedback that I've been getting that's the biggest one is just mastering your mentality, and you started there. I myself started with not having to do a whole lot in terms of mastering my own mentality because I had been working on my mindset a whole lot before I started Three Simple Steps. I still have to stay in tune, right? I still have to tune in and stay in tune with that mastery and making sure that I am being in control of how I react to things. I still have to watch that at times, but I would have to say that wasn't a huge hurdle for me. And I think where people experience challenges, it's been there. Some people experience challenges too with writing their intentions every day. Like that's been a hurdle for some people, like making sure that they literally sit and write their intentions down. Why has that not been a challenge for you?
I can only assume it's because that I've been doing quiet time ever since pretty much 2005. And my quiet time is in the morning is writing. So I always already had that mindset in place.
You had that practice.
Hours that I'm writing my intentions, I mean, I still write, but I include that I write my intentions.
Ah, I see. So you already had the practice of writing daily, so that just kind of flowed in what you already did.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool. Have other people noticed a difference in you as a result of you doing quiet time, or have you observed an impact that you have had on others as a result of you doing all of the Three Simple Steps?
Let me think about that. I think what people notice is that I talk about Three Simple Steps a lot. Other than that, though, I've always been, that kind of person that's kind of happy and is always trying to get that people as well and remind themselves of how wonderful they are and things like that. So, but I think it's more so that people notice how much I talk about Three Simple Steps.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And look at the intentions that you have been writing. Any surprises that you've had with regard to things being manifested pretty quickly? What has been your experience with what you're writing daily and what you have experienced?
This is something that I noticed, and I think is pretty cool. And I think it also has to go with what Trevor says about being for things.
Not against.
It's
Yeah.
just that if things just kind of flow smoothly, you know? So if trying to think of what, it's just that when I think that I need something, it manifests itself, and I don't really have to work very hard at it, you know? I have to take action steps, obviously, you know, but it happens here, you know, whether it's a person, whether it's an event or an action, you know, it just happens. And it's because I'm pushing and thinking for something. So and I know intuitively, for example, if something seems like it's being difficult, you know, it's hard, then it's probably not something that I'm for. It's probably not something that I need to be doing right now, you know, so I'll look in another direction, and then that's when something pops up. So
I see.
I'm explaining that well?
Yes. For the benefit of our viewers, do you have an example or two of that kind of experience where you had thought of something and it manifested right there in front of you and it was quite magical to experience? Do you have an example or two that you can share?
I think one, so I wanted to do my art. So far, art just for myself. So I wanted to start to share that with others, perhaps sell my art. And so I needed to set myself up as an established artist, look for art shows, things like that. And it's just, so I'll apply for a juried art show, and I'll get into one. And that's not always the norm. You know, usually it takes more effort, or because you're not established, or because who you're competing against, you know, you might not get into the show. So that would be an example.
So you quickly got into one, which is not the norm.
Correct. Yes.
Got it.
So things like that.
What are some suggestions that you would offer to our viewers who are in the process of doing 3 Simple Steps or considering doing 3 Simple Steps? What would you say to them if they're just now beginning the journey or considering getting on the journey of trying 3 Simple Steps out? What suggestions do you have for them? Any recommendations? Any insight that you would want to share?
Dang. Because I want them to do all 3 steps. So you can't. I don't think that you can skip anything. I honestly feel that it is a progression, and that's based on my own experience, and it's based on, you know, all the different types of books I've read and other people that I've spoken with. It really is about getting out of that stagnancy or you know, that feeling of self-doubt or what's it called, the quicksand. You really have to go through that process first. And then it's all about, you know, working on yourself, because if you aren't in tune with yourself and taking care of yourself, then there's no way you're going to be able to put any kind of good or positive energy or to help others. And like I said, it's really important because we're all connected. And then, you know, of course, then you want to be of service and to, you know, continue to help yourself and others. And that's kind of that 3rd step or whatever. Is what you're going to do now that you're whole and you're happy and you're So it's kind of, but and then I said it's all worth it. It is so cool. The 3 Simple Steps are awesome. So
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for sharing. And my final question is: have you personally experienced any shifts or changes in how you're experiencing the 3 Simple Steps? So now you've been doing it since when again?
It was August of 2013. So
August, you said?
Yes.
Okay, August of 2013. So probably about 10 months now. Any changes in how you implement the 3 Simple Steps each day, or in how you experience the 3 Simple Steps each day?
No, it's all good. I do keep rereading the book though. You know,
Yeah.
I might gloss over the first step, but I still, I keep referring and going back to it. I think that it's important to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
So
I think in the beginning I probably read it every single week for about 9 weeks, and then I tapered off a little bit. But every time I do one of these interviews, I go, I gotta go listen to that again.
Yeah.
Or I might listen to little parts of it if I feel like, why am I having this struggle with this? I'll go listen to a certain part of it.
Good.
Or there was a certain period of time when I had all this mind chatter going on with when I'm trying to do quiet time, so I went and re-listened it to quiet time, and for whatever reason that enhanced it for me. But yeah, I agree with you that re-listening to whatever components or all of it is really beneficial. And for me, I don't know if you found that, but for me, I get a new aha every time. It's like, because I'm growing and I'm in a different place every time I reread it, I get a different insight or a different aha, different golden nugget each time I read it. Have you found that to be true as well?
No, I would say it's more about reaffirming. It's either reaffirming what I already know or what he had introduced me to. It's like, yeah, that's right, So.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, Catherine, for taking some time out of your day to share your experience with 3 Simple Steps with us. I'm sure our viewers are going to enjoy this interview. Thank you for taking the time to do that.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Thank you for joining us for another interview in the Stories from 3simplesteps.com series. If you feel this story would inspire and encourage someone you know, we invite you to send them to storiesfrom3simplesteps.com. If you are implementing 3 Simple Steps and you feel inspired to share your experience, we would love to interview you and have your experience inspire others. Simply go to storiesfrom3simplesteps.com and click the button to share your story.